Now on Coast TV News.
River search ends. The confirmation we received from Delaware State Police on the efforts to find the missing teenager who fell into the Broadkill River.
Core clearing channel.
We've got hazards to navigation going into West Ocean City Harbor.
Why this dredging is different from others we have seen along our coast.
Deadly crashes under review. Later today, Delaware officials will look at those that have involved pedestrians in recent months.
The summer sizzle is in high gear today. A heat advisory for temperatures in the mid-90s and feels like temperatures as high as 105. The heat eases on Friday. Details coming up.
This is Coast TV News Today.
And it is Thursday, July 17th, 2025. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
And good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us for our 5 o'clock hour.
Yeah, and talking with you and Bob before we went on the air. Apparently it was just me that heard thunder last night around 11.
I did not wake up.
I did.
I was really tired yesterday, so maybe I was just in a deep sleep.
Yeah.
I'm happy I didn't wake up. Nope.
Yeah, it was a thing, Bob, I'm telling you.
Do we believe it? No, I'm kidding.
I believe you. I believe you, Matt. Good morning, Elisa and Matt. I did not hear the thunder, but we had the showers come through last night with rumbles of thunder. The big story today is the heat. Heat advisory across Sussex County from Lewis to Delmarva, Georgetown, even along the immediate coast, down into Maryland as well, back to Salisbury. This goes all day into the evening hours, including the eastern shore. Temperatures out the door, mid to upper 70s, even 80 in Bethany Beach and Rehoboth right now. So we're starting out very warm, and those dreaded dew points in the mid 70s already feeling like mid 80s in a lot of places. At least there's a bit of a southwest breeze, so at least we have that today. But we are looking at mostly cloudy skies right now, just a few breaks. Any kind of storms are up in the Philly area, but they're fizzling out. So I think we'll be looking at dry conditions as we go through the morning hours. We do have that chance of a pop-up storm as we go into the afternoon. The temperatures already on the warm side early this morning, maybe a little bit of fog. Otherwise, sun and clouds mid-morning, 80s, and then close to 90 by the noon hour. And then we're well into the low 90s, even mid-90s, mid-afternoon, and 80s and 90s at the coast. And we could see that spotty shower, maybe some brief heavy rain. And once again, those feels like temperatures as high as 105 away from the coast, mid to upper 90s at the coast. Actual temperatures this afternoon into the lower 90s, and watch for that spotty storm. More on the heat, how long it lasts, and your weekend forecast coming up a little bit later on.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Our top story this hour. Delaware State Police say the body of the 18-year-old who went missing in the Broadkill River on Tuesday has been recovered. This was the scene throughout the day on Wednesday. Massive search efforts continued in the Broadkill River, and then we were told George Neitz Chalil was found near the outer wall of the Delaware Bay.
And how did this happen? Well, first responders were called to the scene around 3:45 Tuesday when the 18-year-old was first reported missing. We're told he was fishing along the banks of the river when he fell in and was swept away with the current. One of the conversations around this incident has been the strong currents in the Broadkill River. One man who was fishing in that river on Tuesday says those conditions were bad.
It was raining a lot that morning, so all the rain came into the river. So yeah, it wasn't fun. I didn't even know that somebody fell in the river, and we just saw a bunch of police cars going by, and we were confused.
And this is a sad ending for a family following a summer afternoon of fishing.
Yes. We move on to other news now. Emergency dredge work is underway in the Ocean City Inlet. The Army Corps of Engineers made their way out into the inlet. This was around 3 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. Now, what's different about this effort is the type of dredge they're using. Instead of dumping the sand off the coast of Assateague, the Army Corps is using a dredge that shoots the sand 85 feet away from the channel.
Obviously, if you take it offshore 2 miles away, it's going to stay away from the inlet channel, but this is an emergency dredging operation. We've got hazards to navigation going into West Ocean City Harbor, and we're doing this to get that channel clear for navigation so that our commercial fishermen and the marine operations can continue to work in Ocean City, Maryland.
And the Army Corps will work in 12-hour shifts during the day. The project is expected to take about 10 days to complete.
Happening tonight, the Southern Delaware Alliance for Racial Justice is hosting what it calls the Good Troubles Lives On rally. Organizers say it's a commemoration of former representative and civil rights activist John Lewis's life. The event also serves as a call to action for justice, unity, and civic engagement. From 6 to 7:30 p.m. at Johnny Walker Beach, this free event will feature speakers, music, and community leaders, all inspired by Lewis's call to, quote, get in good trouble, necessarily trouble.
And you may remember a previous town hall hosted by this organization. It came after reports of an alleged hate crime involving now former Millville firefighters. According to the group, the town hall consisted of a panel of 6 people ranging from the president of the NAACP to the state deputy attorney general.
This afternoon, we are expecting to learn more about deadly crashes in Delaware. The state's Pedestrian Council is specifically reviewing crashes this year from April to June. For all of 2025, DelDOT is reporting 15 deaths related to crashes. That's the same number for this time last year, but it's more than 3 than 2023's number. The committee is holding a public meeting today at 1 o'clock at the DelDOT Administration Building in Dover.
And one of those deaths occurred in Rehoboth Beach back in March. A woman was struck and killed in the Walmart parking lot. This is when a 76-year-old man was loading mulch into his Dodge Ram, and at the same time, Antonia Walton was helping guide him backwards. The driver reversed, hit Walton, and pinned her against the building, where she was pronounced dead at the scene.
We are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C., and the controversy over the Epstein files continues to grow.
It's a rare break with President Trump that we're seeing some Republican lawmakers calling for the release of those files.
As NBC's Alice Barr shows us, Trump is pushing back, saying they are getting drawn into a hoax.
As a rare rift divides MAGA world over the Jeffrey Epstein case, President Trump growing increasingly frustrated with some of his own supporters.
It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net.
In a lengthy post on social media, disowning supporters he called weaklings for buying into what he terms BS. But while the president blames Democrats, right-wing influencers and some members of his own administration were among the loudest voices perpetuating conspiracy theories, believing that Epstein, who was charged and died by suicide in jail during the first Trump term, did not kill himself and that he left an incriminating client list. Here's FBI Director Kash Patel 2 years ago.
Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are.
President Trump made a campaign promise to release the Epstein files, but last week the Justice Department and FBI contradicted the swirling conspiracies and said they would not release more evidence. Attorney General Pam Bondi has been taking the heat from angered MAGA allies, with some now directed at the president himself.
If you talk about this, I'm going to excommunicate you. Well, you're not the Pope, bro.
Some Republican lawmakers calling for more disclosures.
The Epstein files need to be released.
I would say make it all public.
As President Trump stands by his attorney general.
She says, I gave you all the credible information.
And presses his base to move on. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
A heads up for drivers in Caroline County for road work today. The Maryland Department of Transportation State Highway Administration will realign traffic signals, install new signage, and restripe Route 328 at Route 404. This will be from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., weather permitting. And according to MDOT, full closures of Route 328 at the intersection are possible.
New this morning, a celebration to open the Delaware State Fair. At 3 p.m., officials will hold a ribbon-cutting ceremony for the newly renovated Memorial Hall and Museum. Organizers say the updated space is a modern venue, and according to the fair, it honors more than 100 years of agricultural tradition and community spirit. Delaware State Fair runs until July 26th.
And we are just getting started in this hour of CoastTV News today.
Yeah, coming up, school leadership changes. We have 2 districts welcoming new officials ahead of the 2025-2026 school year.
And tomato tariff trouble, what some Delmarva farmers are saying in response to the new fees on the food coming from Mexico.
But first, how people came together as one in Berlin to help raise money for a good cause. All that and more as CoastTV News Today continues.
Raising money can be very challenging, but it's a lot easier when you have some friends, right? Coast TV's Kevin Zappe introduces us to a group of individuals and shows us how they came together to raise money for locals with disabilities.
If you went to the Zoom car wash in Berlin on Saturday, you probably saw bubbles and suds paired with community spirit. People from around the area came together to raise money for people who were born with spina bifida, a condition where the spinal cord doesn't completely form before birth, which can affect fluid flow in the brain and lower body functions. According to Heather Bennett, the president of the Spina Bifida Association, donations are needed to help cover hefty medical expenses.
A lot of times the support needed is lots of doctor's appointments, lots of surgeries. Some individuals need wheelchairs, like all of my friends here today.
Kane Vickers has spina bifida, and according to Kane's grandmother, financial struggles continue outside the doctor's room. During physical therapy, Kane rides this bicycle to help build muscle in his legs, and he loves every second. But when they went to buy the bike for him to use at home, they could not believe the price tag.
One of these little tricycles are $5,600. And that's a lot, and that's no coverage from insurance.
But these prices are not stopping Kane's family, and luckily for them, the community is right by their side, starting with Zoom Car Wash in Berlin, who started hosting fundraisers every Saturday between April and September.
The owners wanted to give back to the community here on the Lower Shore, and we found a great response.
Then came the Spina Bifida Association, who brought food and drinks and took the time to clean out cars and dry them off for donations. And last year was a success for the group, raising around $2,300.
We were the highest raising organization of the whole fundraising season. And so for the winner of the season, Zoom kicks in another $1,000 donation.
And let's not forget about all the Jeeps that came in support, all thanks to the OC Local Jeep Society, who gave a $500 check to the Spina Bifida Association. This cause hit close to home for the Jeep Club, as Kane's grandfather is part of the group, and was at a loss of words for how grateful he was to see everyone in support of his grandson.
Speechless, to think that, they would give up their time to come out here and help. It's great.
While Kane did cool tricks in his wheelchair, the group came together to count up all of the donations, and in the end, they raised $3,218. Nearly $1,000 more than last year. The Spina Bifida Association has had great success when holding an event here at the Zoom Car Wash, so they plan to come back next year alongside the OC Local Jeep Society. I'm Kevin Zappe in Berlin, Coast TV News.
Time is 5:16, and we're checking out the live scene and a good look at just the hints of daylight there at the canal in Lewis. Great picture there.
Yeah.
Bob, you are tracking some very hot conditions.
Oh yes, we're right in the middle of summer, Matt. The dog days of summer are just about upon us, and it's going to be feeling like it out there today. We do have a heat advisory for Sussex County. In fact, pretty much all of Delmarva. This includes Lewis down to Ocean View, even the coastal areas. You're in on this, so it's going to be feeling hot even at the beaches today. Into Maryland, back through Salisbury. Heat advisory continues through 8 p.m. this evening, and the same for the Midshore and Eastern Shore. So it's going to be a scorcher out there. We're not alone. This heat advisory stretches all the way from northeast North Carolina, all the way up into southern New England. Already very warm out there, upper 70s to 80 in Rehoboth, Bethany Beach and Ocean City, 78 in Gumboro, Millsboro 79, and once again, very high dew points into the mid 70s, already feeling like low to mid 80s. So you just know if it's that hot now, it's going to be a scorcher out there. At least we have a bit of a southwesterly breeze. It's really not going to cool us off much. We're seeing a broken overcast over the top of us right now. Some showers into the Philly area and New Jersey, but these are fizzling out. Otherwise, I think we're looking at a quiet day, but a very hot day with the heat building off to our south and west. There is a disturbance along the Gulf Coast that could have become a tropical system, but right now it's interacting with land, and it's not looking like it has a good chance of doing that. In fact, only a 30% chance of this developing. Looks like it'll move inland and kind of fizzle out. Futurecast has us into the upper 70s this morning, and then a mixture of sun and clouds, upper 80s by noon, and then low to mid 90s as we go into the afternoon. Even some lower 90s showing up at the coast. Very hot into this evening. Possibility of a pop-up storm, otherwise just sweltering conditions. As we go into your Friday morning, looking at temperatures into the 70s, could see a stray shower or storm. Not as hot tomorrow with temperatures into mid to upper 80s with the front, and your Friday evening not all that bad. Really not worried about excessive rain today or tomorrow, but that chance creeps up as we go into Saturday. So watch for that, a low chance of flooding conditions. Feels like temperatures today about 103 to 105 inland, even feeling like close to 100 at the coast, but not as bad as we go into tomorrow. And if we do see a storm pop up, I think the main threat would be damaging winds and very heavy rain, but that chance looks pretty low. As we go into the weekend, I think we're still looking at scattered storms as we go into Saturday and Sunday as well, but then it finally starts to dry out as we go into Monday. As we look at our muggy meter, we finally see the humidity dropping into the muggy range a little better as we head into early next week. Paul Davis, 7-day forecast, 94 today with the humidity, not as bad Friday, 88, and then storms into the weekend, 85 Saturday, 90 on Sunday, and then a little more tolerable into early next week with mid-80s and dry conditions. Congratulations to James Worrell from Dover on winning a new umbrella. From Paul Davis and Coast TV.
New overnight, we now know the name of the teen arrested in connection to a deadly shooting in Salisbury Tuesday night. According to Maryland State Police, 18-year-old Jonathan LaRosse Job is facing charges after police say a 24-year-old man was shot around 5:30 p.m. This happened near the 600 block of Smith Street, and troopers say LaRosse Job is facing several charges, including first and second-degree murder.
The U.S. government has announced a 17% tariff on most fresh Mexican tomatoes after negotiations to avoid it fell through. And while Mexico supplies about 70% of the U.S. tomato market, supporters of the new tariff, including some Delmarva farmers, hope it leads to more tomatoes grown and eaten here at home, and that rising grocery store prices of imported tomatoes will push more people to shop local. They say buying local supports their livelihoods and helps boost the Delmarva economy.
We try to accommodate everybody and make prices reasonable because we do know that the prices are increasing and are higher in stores. And we still want everybody in our town to be able to still receive fresh produce.
And this tariff, which was announced by the U.S. government on Monday, is now in effect.
New in Delaware, the Delaware Restaurant Foundation will host Accessibility in Hospitality, a one-day conference focused on inclusive hiring practices in restaurants and hotels across the state. Organizers say the conference will feature expert panels, case studies, and resources from groups like the Food Bank of Delaware, plus a brand new Inclusive Hospitality Toolkit. That event will take place August 7th from 8:30 to 3 p.m. in Newark.
Still ahead, school leadership changes. We'll introduce you to the new officials at Sussex Academy and also the Milford School District. Stay with us on Coast TV News Today.
New this morning, there's a new leadership team at Sussex Academy, and they say their top priorities are student success, sustainability, and community involvement. Following a unanimous vote in June, Ed Hale is stepping in as a board president, joined by Aaron Perchniak as a vice president and Tom Clark as treasurer for the 2025-2026 school year. The board is encouraging more families to get involved as they say committee seats are open for the upcoming school year. And for more information on each leader's background, you can head to CoastTV.com.
And we have more leadership changes to tell you about across Delmarva. The Milford School District has selected its next superintendent. Travis Mormon will take on the position. According to Milford officials, he is said to have over 25 years of experience in education with 14 years at a district level. Mormon is expected to begin his role this month.
A new bill in Delaware would keep medical debt off of credit reports. That's according to Senate Bill 156. Lawmakers say it would ban medical debt from affecting credit scores, job opportunities, or housing eligibility. The bill passed both chambers with unanimous support and now awaits action by Governor Matt Meyer. Matt, you said earlier you think you're going to head to the beach today after work?
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those days, hoping to get some waves in.
Even though Bob said it's going to be really hot outside.
That's
doesn't stop
good
you.
time for the water, but I'm hoping, Bob, no jellyfish in the water like there was over the weekend.
You never know, Matt, but you know, you got to tough it up, get out there and brave the jellyfish. You know, it's one of those rare days at the beaches where we're not going to see relief from the heat at the coast. Upper 80s close to 90 in Ocean City with a mix of sun and clouds, with the humidity feeling even like 100 in places like Lewis and Rehoboth, with actual temperatures in the low 90s. Rip current threat is low, UV index is high. On the bay side, we're looking at very hot conditions for you with lower 90s in Cambridge and the same for Crisfield. So you're going to want to find a nice shady spot, stay hydrated with with water. Thankfully, this heat wave is short-lived, a little cooler into Friday. Much more on your forecast coming up in the next half hour.
And after the break on Coast TV News today, clearing the canal will tell you what is different about the emergency dredging taking place in Ocean City right now.
Also, DelDOT, the curb crashes, will tell you what the agency is looking to in order to decrease those deadly events.
In dangerous waters on Delmarva, several events on the coast have called for water rescues with some tragic endings. Coast TV News today will be right back.
Now on Coast TV News.
Teen's fate found. The fears realized in the search efforts for the teenager who went missing in the Broadkill River.
Sand removal technique. What is different about this dredging process compared to others we've seen along the coast?
Start of State Fair, we get you ready for the big annual event in Harrington.
The summer sizzle is in high gear today. A heat advisory for temperatures in the mid-90s and feels like temperatures as high as 105. The heat eases on Friday. Details coming up.
This is Coast TV News Today.
July 17th, 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we're about to hit 5:30 on this Thursday morning, and we are getting ready for high temperatures. A lot of humidity.
Bob said the dog days of summer, but it's only mid-July, so it's going to feel like August today. And it is the first day of the state fair as well. So if you're going to the state fair, drink lots of water.
It falls this time of year, so it's not a surprise. But boy, I tell you, there are some hot days at that state fair,
Get one
Bob.
of those portable neck fans. If you're going to the state fair, I've seen those, Bob.
Yes, absolutely. I've got one of those towels that you can put water in and put it around your neck. It's going to be hot in Harrington today for the beginning of the fair and elsewhere too, as we have a heat advisory all across Delmarva, including Delaware, back into Maryland, as we're looking at heat indices as high as 105 and also a heat advisory for the eastern shore. Already upper 70s to around 80 at the beaches from Bethany Beach to Lewis, 79 in Millsboro, 78 in Georgetown. Very muggy with the dew points in the mid 70s, and at least we have a breeze. We'll have that today, but it's going to be a hot breeze as we're looking at some clouds, some breaks in the clouds, and we've seen some showers to our north in the Philly area, New Jersey, but they're fizzling out. So I think really much of the day we're dry, but just that outside chance of a storm later on. As it gets really hot, as temperatures warm through the 80s this morning, by noon into the upper 80s, and really no break at the coast. Look at this, even 90s Bethany Beach to Rehoboth and into the low to mid 90s along the coast. And maybe that stray storm as we go into the evening hours, feeling as hot as 105 inland areas and even upper 90s along the coast. So it's going to be a hot ferry ride up to Cape May with temperatures in the 80s and lower 90s as we go through the day. At least there's a pleasant breeze, but feeling like mid 90s. More on the heat and your weekend forecast coming up a little bit later on.
Our top story this half hour, Delaware State Police say the body of the 18-year-old who went missing on the Broadkill River Tuesday has been recovered. This is what the scene looked like throughout the day on Wednesday. Massive search efforts continued on that river. We're told George Nees-Chalel was found near the outer wall of the Delaware Bay. This is a sad ending for a family following a summer afternoon of fishing.
You know, what happened there? It's the latest of an alarming month of July for activities at our coastal waters. Also, according to Rehoboth Beach Police, the body of the swimmer who went missing last weekend was also found on Wednesday. You're now looking at that scene. That's where police say the body of 27-year-old Gregory Karitu of Kenya was brought ashore. This is near Herring Point in Cape Henlopen State Park. Karitu went missing Saturday night in the surf off of Rehoboth's Olive Avenue.
And earlier this month, off-duty lifeguards spotted a missing swimmer near Cape Henlopen State Park. The first responders said they saw a woman struggling in the water and jumped in to save her. She is reportedly doing okay now.
This afternoon, we're expecting to learn more about deadly crashes in Delaware. The state's pedestrian council is specifically reviewing crashes from this year, from April to June. For all of 2025, DelDOT is reporting 15 deaths related to crashes. That's the same number for this time of the year in 2024. It is 3 more than 2023's number. The committee is holding a public meeting today at 1 p.m. at the DelDOT Administration Building in Dover.
And one of those deaths occurred in Rehoboth Beach back in March. A woman was struck and killed in the Walmart parking lot. It was when a 76-year-old man was loading mulch into his Dodge Ram. At the same time, a woman was helping guide him backwards. The driver reversed and hit the woman, pinned her against the building, where she was pronounced dead at the scene.
Emergency dredge work now taking place in the Ocean City Inlet. The Army Corps of Engineers made their way out into the inlet around 3 o'clock Wednesday afternoon, and instead of dumping the sand off the coast of Assateague, the Army Corps is using a dredge that shoots the sand 85 feet away from the channel. This project is expected to take about 10 days.
Happening today, a celebration to open the Delaware State Fair. At 3 p.m., fair officials will host a ribbon-cutting ceremony for the newly renovated Memorial Hall and Museum. Organizers say the upgraded space now serves as a modern venue and the official Delaware State Fair Museum, honoring more than 100 years of agriculture, tradition, and community spirit. The Delaware State Fair takes place today through July 26th.
Tonight, the Southern Delaware Alliance for Racial Justice hosting what it calls the Good Trouble Lives On rally. Organizers say it's a commemoration of former U.S. Representative and civil rights activist John Lewis's life, and that the event also serves as a call to action for justice, unity, and civic engagement. It's from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at Johnny Walker Beach. It'll feature speakers, music, and community leaders, all inspired by Lewis's call to, quote, get in good trouble, necessary trouble.
We are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. as recession's package slicing $9 billion in funding for public broadcasting and foreign aid is heading to the House. And that's after the Senate passed it in the early morning from 51 to 48.
Yeah, the rush comes as lawmakers face a looming deadline. Amy Kiley shows us how President Donald Trump is urging them to pass the legislation in time.
You want everybody as much as possible to play team ball, but everybody's vote is their own.
Republicans are hurrying to meet a deadline tomorrow, leading to a long night on Capitol Hill. At issue is a rescissions package codifying some DOGE cuts to foreign aid and public broadcasting.
I wish we had a bit bigger rescission package.
Many of these are small stations in rural parts of the country, and for them, this very much is an existential moment.
The deadline stems from a presidential budget law that allows a simple majority passage in the Senate. It's why that chamber slogged through a vote-a-rama and final passage overnight. Those amendments follow an earlier procedural vote.
The Senate being equally divided, the vice president votes in the affirmative,
in which 3 Republicans opposed the measure.
I come from a state where access to other forms of information and communication may be limited.
In the House, Republicans want to make time for the rescissions package and worked late on cryptocurrency legislation.
And it's going to lay the groundwork for crypto to become as powerful an investment vehicle as it is going to be allowed to become.
Some GOP holdouts say they wanted an agreement to prioritize banning central bank digital currency. That deadlock is how a procedural hurdle last night set a new record for the longest House vote in modern history, leading the Speaker to joke.
Yeah, it's real easy. This job is very easy.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
The House set the previous record for its longest modern vote just a few weeks ago. And the controversy over the Epstein files continues to grow in a rare break with President Trump. Some Republican lawmakers are calling for the release of that file. Right-wing influencers and some members of his own administration considering conspiracy theories that Epstein, who was charged and died by suicide in jail during the first Trump era, did not kill himself and that he left an incriminating client list.
It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net.
Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are.
And some Republican lawmakers are calling for more disclosures, but the president is standing by his attorney general and presses his base to move on.
We have a lot more news to get to. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, states sue FEMA, why Delaware and Maryland are joining a group of other states in a lawsuit against the federal agency.
Also, crash carryover to Dover? We get the perspective of Josh Berry after his involvement from this incident last week at Sonoma. Stay with us on Coast TV News today.
It is 5:40 on our Thursday morning. Good looking shot from the Irish Eyes cam in Lewis, looking at some clouds. We're getting some breaks in the clouds as well. It's going to be a hot one out there today. Already 70s to 80 from Lewis down to Bethany Beach. Dew points still well into the 70s, so it's going to be a very hot and humid day. We're seeing some clouds out there, some breaks in the clouds as well. So I think we'll see sun and clouds. Any kind of showers and storms are to our north. So I think mainly quiet, just hot and humid as we go through the day. Here's your golf forecast. Have the water. Make sure you find a nice shady spot. It's going to be a scorcher. 94, feeling like 105, and we could see an evening isolated storm. Call the CoastTV First Alert weather phone for your latest forecast, sponsored by Brockstead Mandalis Federico.
Thank you, Bob. Road closures are coming to Salisbury as crews continue construction on a storm drain maintenance. According to the city, work is in the final stages and a partial road closure is taking place today. This is along East Naylor Mill Road. You can see that location on your screen right now. The city says that closure is happening between 8 a.m. and 4:30.
The Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
We got you, Triple SA, all week long in Salisbury. Let's show you one of the best games from yesterday's action. You got the Bayside Blues out of Arnold taking on Yellow Jackets from Damascus. Bottom one, that's Isabella DeVrent dunking a base hit in the center. Jackets take the 1-0 lead. And then it's Tessa Reese. She got more than a piece of this one. Scalds a ball into left. Another run comes in to score, and the Jackets up 2-0 after one. Let's go top two. The Blues would cut into the deficit. Pitch is going to soar to the backstop. Devin Wolcott, come on home. She slides in safely, and it's 2-1. But Jackets pitcher Leah Malavinsky, she gets out of the jam. Struck her out looking. Jackets still ahead 2-1. How about some love for the infielders? Here, runner on first. Soft liner caught by Madden Evans, who holds the runner aboard at first. Now Lily Buck showing why she plays the hot corner. Nice grab over there at third base, but Lil couldn't snag them all. Anna Sardellis, a hot shot down the left field line. She'd be held to a single, and she'd be stranded there. So it stays 2-1. We're going to go all the way to the fifth. Blues going small ball. Runner on third. Gracie Upton with the bunt. Jackets fire to first for the out. That's exactly what Bayside wanted. Tying run comes home to score. It's 2-2. Bottom five, Yellow Jackets trying to win it. What a play at second by Wolcott. This game would end in a 2-2 tie. For more coverage, it continues at Field 3 all morning on DSN+.
And coming up tonight on DSN at 6:15, it's Maryland Supreme Boys Basketball League. And catch the final score at 10:30. Along with that game that we just told you about, you can watch these exclusives on DSN+. 8 a.m., plenty of action from the USSSA Eastern National Softball Championships.
And the Little League Softball Mid-Atlantic Regional Tournament kicks off this Sunday. Delmarva Sports Network will be in Bristol covering Maryland's Delmar team and Delaware's Camden, Wyoming squad. It is brought to you by Preston Automotive. We will have live updates and game highlights all weekend on the Delmarva Sports app, network, website, and social media. You can stay tuned for all of that action on the Delmarva Sports Network.
1 day away from the start of the race weekend at Dover Motor Speedway, and a driver with a win earlier in the 2025 NASCAR season. It's in the middle of a bit of a controversy involving one of the most aggressive ones on the circuit. Let's go to last Sunday. Closing laps of the race at Sonoma. Josh Berry in the 21 car causes Carson Hocevar in the 77 car to spin. For Hocevar, it's a rare time he's on the receiving end of contact. For Berry, he says there was no ill intent.
Carson's been polarizing over the last couple years, and whenever he's in an incident, I think people automatically assume that it's payback because he's been on the giving end of plenty over the last couple years. So, but yeah, on my end, yeah, it was not intentional. I've yet to talk to him. I've been trying to talk to him. I talked to his crew chief, but yeah, you know, it's just one of those things that happens at the end of the races.
Berry is 3 years removed from winning the Xfinity race at Dover. His best finish in a Cup car is 10th. That was in 2023.
Movie and streaming news now. Here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
Wherever this blood leads. I need you to fight one last time.
Here's your first look at the 5th and final season of Stranger Things. Our heroes are united, but their town is under military quarantine. 11 is in hiding, and the final battle is looming. Volume 1 of the final season debuts November 26th on Netflix, with Volume 2 on Christmas Day and the finale on New Year's Eve.
seen them too. That's very interesting.
My Neighbor Totoro is returning to theaters. The magical adventure from Oscar-winning director Hayao Miyazaki screens in Japanese with subtitles on July 21st and 22nd and dubbed in English on July 19th, 20th, and 23rd. Locations and showtimes at fathomentertainment.com.
Crypto. Home. Take me home.
Superman fans may be taking more dogs home because of the movie. The dog training app Woofs tells The Wrap Google searches for Adopt a Dog Near Me jumped more than 500% after the film's opening weekend. Good boy, Crypto. Good boy. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
If you're having a rough week, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from CoastTV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up right now for free at CoastTV.com and get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday.
Seeing some clouds, a little bit of blue sky right now in the Dry Tech Cam in Ocean City. 80 degrees. It's going to be a scorcher out there today. Heat advisory, a summer sizzler. Feels like temperatures up to about 105, so make sure you find a nice shady spot and drink a lot of water. I'll have more on the heat. My full forecast coming up in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
The time is now 5:48 and we are taking a live look outside at Ocean City on this Thursday morning. And Bob, we're seeing not sunrise, but it's a little brighter outside. We definitely see those trees blowing, so it is windy out there.
Yeah, at least we had the breeze today, Elisa,
Yeah.
and that's really not going to save us from the heat, though. It's not going to cool us off much. But we'll see sun and clouds as we go through the day, as you'll need that air conditioning today. Sweltering heat and humidity, feeling like 105, maybe an isolated afternoon and evening storm. Not as hot Friday, but still pretty muggy with feels like temperatures in the lower triple digits and maybe a pop-up storm. We had the heat advisories in place in Delaware and Maryland too. This goes until 8 p.m. this evening for feels like temperatures once again as high as 105. And we're seeing those heat advisories all the way from northeast North Carolina through New York and southern New England. Out the door this morning, upper 70s to 80 in Lewis, Rehoboth, and Bethany Beach, 79 in Millsboro, and that dew point temperature is still very high into the mid 70s. So already feeling like low to mid 80s in a lot of places. At least we have the southwesterly breeze, but that's going to be a hot and muggy breeze today. We're seeing the clouds. We're seeing some breaks in the overcast as well. Nothing in the way of showers or storms right now. Seeing some light showers near Philly and maybe back into the New York area. Otherwise, it's just going to be a hot day with high pressure and the building heat to our south and west. There is a tropical disturbance along the Gulf Coast, but it's interacting with land, and I don't think it's going to become a named storm. In fact, only a 30% chance of it developing into a named storm, but right now we're not thinking so. Futurecast this morning has us quickly warming through the 80s with a southwesterly breeze. By noon, we're into the upper 80s and really no relief at the beaches today. 90s there from Bethany Beach to Lewis, low to mid 90s inland areas, super hot into the evening and maybe a stray shower or storm, maybe some brief heavy rain. Otherwise, just very warm and muggy through the overnight. Into Friday morning, upper 70s to start, maybe a stray shower or storm as we have a little bit of a cold front coming through, so not as hot tomorrow afternoon with mid to upper 80s and 70s and 80s at the coast. And we can't rule out a stray shower into the evening hours. Excessive rain, not expecting that today or tomorrow, but it's lurking to the south and west. And there's a low chance of some heavier rain as we head into Saturday, as feels like temperatures as hot as 105 away from the coast, and even some coastal areas perhaps hitting that 100-degree mark today, but not as hot as we head into tomorrow. And just a low chance of seeing damaging winds or heavy rain this evening, but really not worried about that as we're looking at some scattered storms on Saturday. Not going to be a perfect weekend, but not a washout either, and some storms Sunday and then much drier after that. And on the muggy meter, we finally dry it out a little bit as we go into the early part of next week. Paul Davis 7-day forecast, 94 today down to 88 Friday into the weekend, mid 80s with storms Saturday, 90 with storms Sunday, a little cooler and drier into early next week.
This just in, Maryland and Delaware are joining a group of 18 other states in a lawsuit against a federal emergency management agency. This is over its decision to shut down a program that helps communities guard against natural disasters. The lawsuit contends that FEMA unlawfully eliminated its multi-billion-dollar grant program, Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities, or BRIC. FEMA announced the termination, saying that the program was, quote, wasteful and ineffective.
Downtown Salisbury toasting a new program letting guests legally sip and stroll with adult beverages at select events. Here's what we're talking about. It's called TAPS, to-go alcohol in public spaces. Officials say the new initiative allows adults 21 and over to enjoy alcoholic drinks in designated areas during downtown events like Third Friday, the Maryland Folk Festival, and New Year's Eve. Mayor Randy Taylor says the goal is to make downtown more vibrant and inviting.
And speaking of folk festivals, Salisbury says it has received a major grant to enhance this year's event. And we're actually going to move on right now to Coastal Pets. So the time is now 5:52, and here's a look at your coastal pet.
Yeah, let's take a look on your screen right now. We've got Sarge, everybody. He was recently adopted from Humane Animal Partners,
Aww.
and as you can see, he now spends his day dressed up in silly costumes. He's having fun with his new family. Some great pictures there. Sarge was submitted to us by Denny in Rehoboth Beach.
Love a good adoption story. Well, we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special.
Scan that QR code at the top of your screen, get your friends to us, and then you can watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
It's 5:55, and here's another look at your forecast before you head out the door.
Yeah, a bit steamy today, Bob, on this Thursday.
I think that's an understatement for sure. A lot steamy, a lot hot out there. You're going to want to find a nice shady spot and make sure you have plenty of water. We're looking at a mix of sun and clouds, temperatures rapidly rising through the 80s into the mid-90s. At least there's a breeze. It's not going to cool us off, though. Feeling like 105 this afternoon. Paul Davis 10-day forecast. It does cool down a little bit Friday, 88, and then into the weekend, 85 on Saturday. I was hoping we could keep it dry, but it looks like scattered storms there. More on Sunday with a high of 90. Drying out a little bit early next week and a little cooler into the low to mid 80s through midweek, but then hot by the end of the week, low 90s, and then perhaps more storms into next weekend.
Thanks, Bob. Coming up in our next hour, Broadkill tragedy confirmed. We have the tales of the discovery last night of the missing teenager who fell into the river while fishing. That and more when we continue with Coast TV News Today.